Hey everybody, this is Paddy from Odds on FPL, and I'm going to do something I haven't done before, well at least not on YouTube. I'm going to be rating your wildcards. Am I wildcarding this week? No, but sometimes people just like to have a bit of feedback on what they're doing, how they can improve theirs, what's wrong with theirs, and I'm here to do that. My decisions are all going to be made based on odds, fixtures, things like that. So if you have players in your team, like let's say from Villa, Brentford, Southampton, Palace, Burnley, I'm not going to say it's a great wild card. As well as that, good fixtures are things that are quite important because with a wild card, you don't particularly want to have to plan transfers straight away. Think about something like Leeds. They've got great fixtures except for Liverpool just up next. You can't be thinking like somebody like Rafinha, Harrison, Bamford, that next week you want to transfer them in. You're going to have to consider bringing in somebody like Ailing, leaving him on the bench just for this game week. As well as that, if you're planning a transfer, realistically, after a wildcard, you shouldn't be doing that straight away. COVID is still very much a thing. Probably shouldn't be talking about COVID on YouTube, but you know what I mean. So players can get suspended, players can be left out. You can't really be planning straight away to make transfers when you've already made as many as you want. As well as that, some other things based on fixtures, there are certain players who I think are pretty key to a wildcard. You're gonna need Wolves players, you're gonna need Arsenal players, you're gonna need Leeds, and maybe an Everton player as well. So these are players who are pretty important to a good run on the wildcard. All these players as well are quite cheap, so you can spend your money on premiums. Essential. Apart from that, other things that I'm going to look out for are bad double ups, bad triple ups, things like that. So let's say if you have 3 Liverpool players, 3 Chelsea players, something like that, that's something that I'm going to say is a negative. Why I'm saying that's a negative? Well, if you look at Chelsea's fixtures, they've got some good fixtures, but then they also have Spurs, Man City. Like they're in the next 3 games. Then these are not good games. If you're bringing in 3 Chelsea players and something like that, I'm not gonna say it's good. So now on to the first person's wildcard. It's FPL Sancho. Just having a look at this now. I can already see some things here that I don't like. There's a triple Liverpool. Liverpool have some good games, but in game week 7 they come up against Man City, and then game week 9 they come up against Man United. So they've got 4 good fixtures in 5, but realistically you're not going to want to keep the players in there for game week 7 and game week 9. So you're already planning transfers out. I think there's better options than Jota, even though he's cheap, but I would keep in Trent and Salah. When it comes to defense, Cody's a good pick. I think Raya is too, but I think at 5 million there's probably better goalkeepers. As well as that, Cody, 4.5, good value. Tanganga, Emerson Royals come in. So he's probably not nailed on. I think you have a lot of players in there, like let's say Jota, Torres, Tanganga, who aren't nailed on picks. Then when it comes to the bench, you've got Mendy and Amarty. If any of your players are ruled out, you're going to be in trouble. You're at risk of having 10 or 9 players. Ailing, as I've already said, is a good option. Your front line looks immense. I would consider maybe getting rid of Antonio for somebody, like somebody like let's say Raul Jimenez. Now he's ruled out this game week potentially. Maybe somebody like him or Patrick Bamford, something like that. Overall, I think your wildcard's pretty good here. Your bench needs to improve, but the team itself, there's a few rotation risks. Maybe go with somebody more solid. Get rid of Tanganga, bring in a central defender or right back who's more likely to play. Let me just look. Somebody like, let's say, an Arsenal defender. Bring in Ben White for Tanganga. His fixtures are very good. And then you also have Ben White, Ailing. Very good rotation. So yeah, I think Trent's pretty good. Raya, good as well, but you could probably improve on it. Captaining Ronaldo as well. Thumbs up. Next up is DJ Beachy. So this is his wildcard here. Looking at it, it's a very cheap defense. And then you look at the players like Livramento, not got good fixtures. Pinnock, not got good fixtures. Ait-Nouri is not nailed on. So right there, as well as that, Duffy as well. Duffy could be dropped after the international break with Veltman coming back. So you have Duffy, Ait-Nouri, Pinnock, who aren't potentially not playing. Oh well, Pinnock is playing, but he's got awful fixtures. In midfield, you're spending 12 million on Fernandez, who's not on penalties. No, don't do it. Spend that money better. As well as that, Benrahma, Rafinha, Basuma. Why is Basuma 4.6 now? Dennis up top. He's a rotation risk now with King coming back and Joe Pedro. So yeah, I just think you're not spending your money very wisely there. You can get rid of Fernandez, bring in somebody cheaper. Let's say you want to upgrade your defense. You can get rid of Ait-Nouri. You can bring in somebody like Tierney. You can get rid of Pinnock. You could bring in a Wolves defender like Semedo. You can drop Fernandez, bring in somebody better. As in, there's so many options in the game right now. So like, as in, I just wouldn't go with this one. As well as that, Meze is a good pick. Antonio, Ronaldo, yeah, good picks. Essentially, you could drop Fernandez and then swap Dennis out for a better performing forward. Looking at the fixes, you could drop Fernandez, bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then upgrade your defense as well. So these are some options that you have. It makes your team far more solid. You're not thinking about transfers. So yeah, I'd do something like that. Overall, I don't think it's a great wild card. Plenty of issues there, especially in the defense. So, Daniel, make some transfers. Make your defense better. The fixers aren't great there. So next up is Denver diderix. I may have said that wrong. Sorry. In goal, you've got a nice little combo there. 8.5 million. Not bad. Lets you spread your budget better. In defense, you spent an awful lot of money there. That's premium. Personally, I don't think Rudiger is going to get a lot of clean sheets the next couple of games. Chelsea have Tottenham away and Man City at home. He's not worth the money right now, but he will be eventually after the fixtures turn in game week 7. I just don't see it. I think you're better off spending your money elsewhere. I know you're planning on a transfer down in game week 7, but you could swap out Shaw for Rudiger very easily. As well as that, you have Reguilon. Spurs don't have great fixtures. Chelsea at home next. They're not going to keep a clean sheet. Arsenal away, probably keep a clean sheet. But in the next 3 games, it's not great. It's away to Palace as well, where they could concede. So your defense, you're spending money a bit badly. I don't think Rudiger and Reguilon are good picks. I'd probably pick in somebody like Semedo or Cody. So somebody from Wolves, essentially. And then you could also bring in somebody from Arsenal, because their fixtures are very good. Like, let's say, if you brought in Semedo, Tierney, you'd have a lot more money to spend elsewhere. Like, who is Remy Street? Man, who is he? You could upgrade Remy Street just by downgrading those 2 players. You could bring in a 6 million striker, maybe somebody like Pukki. In midfield as well, you do have 5 players who are good picks, but Gray has been overperforming. You could downgrade Gray to a 4.5 million midfielder, and then you could get a really good striker up top. So, just something to consider. You've spent a lot of money in your defense, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking you're probably going 4-5-4-4-2. So if you're going 4-4-2 because of the fact you have so much money spent on the back, you really don't need Gray in there. As well as that, looking at Benrahma, West Ham's fixtures, Man United at home, Leeds away, Everton away, Tottenham at home. The next 6 games aren't great. You could get a better midfielder for him. Greenwood as well has been phenomenal. I think he's going to continue. Then Torres is a bit of a rotation risk because of the international break. Overall, I think it's a pretty good team, but I'd get a better striker in there. Drop Gray. Your your defenders, improve on them. You don't need to be spending that much money on Reguilon and Rudiger. So yeah, overall it's an alright one, but yeah, downgrade some players, upgrade Remy Street to a player who's an entity in this game. Next up, this way, yeah. So I'm just gonna ask you to subscribe if you want content like this or something similar. I do appreciate it if you do subscribe. So yeah. Also, if you like the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. You know, the standard stuff. Next up is FPL United. You can see here he's got a nice little plug-in, so it makes it easier just looking at it, so I don't have to be looking at my notes over there. So yeah, the defense is really good. I've already said about Rudiger that I'd potentially downgrade him, bring in Kieran Tierney. Then you've got a 4.9 million defender. You've got money in the bank. Then the one thing here that I'm looking at is your front line. You've got Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Antonio. That's really good, but Lukaku's fixtures, apart from Villa in the next three, aren't great. So you could improve the midfield. Looking at it, you could probably bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then you could upgrade Gray to a better midfielder. Since you don't have, oh wow, you don't have Trent, bro. You could get rid of Lukaku, bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, upgrade Rudiger to Trent. That's simple. And then as well, you probably have a bit in the bank. Yeah, yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Bamford in for Lukaku. Lukaku's going to be a great option, but not in the next three games, I don't think. As well as that, your bench is cheap, but they'll probably play. I don't know why you've gone for Allen. I think the Sissoko of Watford is probably the best 4.5 million pick. Your defense is good. Shaw, Semedo, Livramento, Duffy. It's cheap. They all play. Duffy is a bit of a risk, but then if I am looking at somebody to get rid of, it'd be Rudiger. I know Chelsea are picking up clean sheets left, right, and centre, but Tierney is cheaper, better fixtures, and it lets you upgrade elsewhere. So if you got rid of Rudiger, you got rid of Gray, you got rid of Lukaku, you can upgrade better. I like the Saka pick. Norwich up next. That's a bit of a differential captaincy if ever I've seen one. So yeah, drop Lukaku to DCL. You got 3 million extra in the bank. Then you get rid of Rudiger for Tierney. Then you've got about 0.6 more left, and then you can really upgrade Gray. You could, well, actually no, because you'd be upgrading Rudiger to Trent, and then your midfielder, but you could keep Gray. So yeah, Rudiger to Trent, Lukaku to DCL, maybe keep Gray. Just something to consider there. I like Salah and goal as well. Great fixtures. You're not gonna have to worry about swapping them out. Double Wolves defense though, risky. I like it. It could work. So yeah, I think that's a good pick as well. Next up is FPL discussion. I haven't picked 11 people here who responded to me, by the way. Sorry if I've left some out. Yeah, I just picked random. Again, as I said previously, Sa is a really good pick. Wolves have great fixtures. Really, really good fixtures. So I could see him keep picking up save points, especially with the high line. And Laga, their manager, is letting him to be a little bit open, but Wolves look good defensively, I think. The defense, I really rate it. Haven't seen many picks with Christensen in it. I've seen a stat there that he's kept like 36 clean sheets in his last 48 games. Don't know if it's real. It could just be Chelsea fans spouting shite. But yeah, Christensen is cheap. I would get in a Wolves defender for him instead. I'd bring in Semedo. I don't think their fixtures are great, as I've already said. Your midfield as well. You've gone triple Liverpool. As I've said, I don't think it's great considering their fixtures. I like how you have Ronaldo. Um, Looking at it, Greenwood as well. So you've gone triple United, triple Liverpool. You really need those players to start and get points every week. It's a lot of money. I'd probably deviate a bit away. Since you have the three of them, I'd probably bring in Rafinha or DCL, as I'm saying quite a lot. But yeah, I'd bring in a Wolves player in like your attack. Somebody like Adama Traore, Podence, I think he's on the bench, or Trinchao. You could essentially downgrade Greenwood or Torres to him, and then you could upgrade your bench. Like, it's almost criminal not having three starting strikers when you're able to get somebody like Timu Pukki for like 6 million. Like, there's just so much options there. So yeah, you could downgrade players like Christensen, you could downgrade Torres, and then you could bring in somebody for Scarlett. Even Jota, like as in, I know Jota's a value pick, but you could downgrade him to somebody who's cheaper. Upgrade Scarlett, then you've got more options. Overall, it's a pretty good wildcard. I think you've gone too heavy on certain teams. Christensen's not a great pick, so that's just something to consider. Next up is S Basin. Looking at it, Roman Saiss, Alonso, both of them are not nailed on. So they're both risks already. As I've said, Chelsea's fixtures aren't great. I'd change Sice, upgrade to Semedo, change Alonso to, looking at your bench, Williams is grand, Duffy's grand. I'd probably upgrade Alonso to Trent or even Luka Dean. I haven't said him yet. So yeah, if you don't want triple Liverpool, you could go double with Jota and Salah. Personally, I think Liverpool's defensive fixtures are quite good. So I would, if you don't want to get rid of Jota, you could get rid of Alonso, and then you could bring in Luka Dean instead. Everton's fixtures are very good. Burnley at home, Villa away, Norwich at home, next three. Really good. He'll get points. I think they're around the same price, probably a bit more in there. So you could upgrade Sice, change Alonso to Luka Dean. Then in midfield, Benrahma's fixtures aren't great, as I've already said. So there are options there. I think when you're looking at it, Arsenal have loads of midfielders like Emile Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, who you could downgrade them to. Your front line's very good. One thing I do have to say is you're probably wasting money on your two goalkeepers there between Raya and Sanchez. You could just bring in a goalkeeper who's 5 million and start him every game. So you could bring in somebody like Sa from Wolves. Or you could, if you think Leno's going to start for Arsenal, Leno at Arsenal. Or Pickford at Everton, or Meslier at Leeds. I think all of these are better options in goal than having two 4.5s. Essentially, all the fixtures are quite good as well. So if I was picking a goalkeeper out of the lot, I would choose Jose Sa, but then, you know, if you don't have Tierney, I'd probably go with Leno. But there's a risk that Ramsdale comes in. So yeah, if you're dropping Alonso and bringing in Luka Dean, then I'd probably go with Meslier or Sa. I don't particularly like the idea of a double up Wolves defense, so probably Meslier, even though his first fixtures against Liverpool, he'll get clean. He won't get a clean sheet in it, but he could get a lot of save points. But yeah, that's my opinion on your team. Bench is very cheap. Probably get rid of Sanchez for 4 million. Angus Gunn, I think, is a good pick. So yeah, that's it. I think it's okay. Need changes in defense. Midfield's quite good. Downgrade Benrahma. Forward line's stellar. Upgrade your goalkeeper. Sean Ferguson's up next. Looking at your team, Jose Sa, yeah, Steele, yeah. You've got double Wolves defense, a triple Wolves defense. Don't do that, bro. Downgrade Marcel. Marcel's not nailed on. Dyer as well is a bit of a risk, so yeah. Skip 4.5. He's starting, but he's no attacking outlet. I'd probably bring in Sissoko from Watford as a 4.5. Looking at the defense itself, Matip as well, rotation risk. I think he's first choice for now, but no, you're missing Trent in your defense. You've got triple Wolves, and Dyer is also a rotation risk. So, no. Looking at your front line, I have seen nobody with Kane and Ronaldo. I would personally get rid of Kane because Spurs do have a good fixture against Crystal Palace, but then Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham in the next 6. So you could drop Kane down to DCL. Or even Jimenez. Get rid of one of your Wolves defenders. Upgrade Cody to Semedo. Change Marcel to Tierney. Then you've got a really, really good team. Pretty much. You could also upgrade Alan or Skip to a better, midfielder. So yeah, 2 4.5 mids is how you enable the Kane and Ronaldo up top. I can see that, but would I do it myself? No, I would not. I wouldn't. So yeah, I think you've spent money a lot up top, which is the worry, and I'd get rid of Kane for DCL. I'd get rid of Dyer, Marcel, and I would get rid of Matip. Bring in Trent, bring in Semedo, and then also, let's just say, Luka Dean or something. You can bring in DCL, and then you can upgrade your midfielders to somebody who's slightly more expensive. That's what I would do. Right now you've got 3 premiums, and it makes the rest of your team slightly weak. Next up is Semen, I believe. Looking at your team there, 2 goalkeepers, good. Semedo, Trent, Shaw, Livramento, Williams. Really, really good defense. Looking at your midfield, Salah, Torres, Jota, Rafinha. As I've said already, you've got triple Liverpool. Jota's a bit of a value one. But do I want to go triple Liverpool if there's going to be a plan to transfer him out in game week 7. We still don't know when Firmino's back as well, so Jota is still a bit of a risk. Looking at your team as well, you're starting Rafinha, which, is a bit of a... I don't know if he's going to be playing because of the ban. So if I was you, I'd probably downgrade Jota and then bring in somebody like Adama. I think Adama is a good pick, 6 million. You save a lot of money. Then you can downgrade somebody, or you can upgrade somebody in your defense. You could, if you're looking at a defender between Livramento and Williams, Southampton have awful fixtures. West Ham, Man City, Wolves, Chelsea, next 4. Norwich, on the other hand, have some decent fixtures. Watford, Burnley, Brighton, Arsenal, Everton. They're not playing anybody in the top 6. So they've got better fixtures. I'd probably keep Williams. Livermento's a bit of a rotation risk as well, but then again, so is Williams. So yeah, I'd downgrade Jota to Adama, then upgrade one of your defenders to like Luka Dean. If you bring Jota away, then bring in Luka Dean for Livramento or Williams, then you have a player who can start this week instead of Rafinha. That is a pretty good move for me. That's what I would do as well. In terms of your goalkeeper, there's a 4.5 million pick. Looking at the 4.5 million picks, Bachmann's probably the best. They've got really good fixtures, but it's not that much better than Brighton's. Wolves at home, Norwich, Newcastle, Leeds in their next 4. It's pretty good. And then if you look at Brighton, in contrast, they've got Leicester, Arsenal, Man City in the next 6. Yeah, if you're going for Sanchez, I'd probably go Bachmann instead, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's what I would do. I think that's a good shout. Yeah, what you have to do, downgrade Jota, bring in Adama. You've got triple Wolves, they've got great fixtures, it doesn't matter. Then if you bring in Adama, you can upgrade a bench player like Livramento or Williams to Luka Dean. Your team's very good, to be honest with you. Like, very good. It's just Rafinha may not play. And then you have to rely on one of your bench options. If you have somebody like Luka Dean, who's playing against Burnley at home, who's going to be crossing the ball a lot, there's a chance of an assist, there's a chance of a goal from a free kick, and there's a chance of a clean sheet. So just even for one game week, it's a smart idea. Do I see Jota outperforming Dean this week? Maybe, but Luka Dean's nailed on, and his fixtures are really good, and he's not a rotation risk. That's what I would do anyway. So there's a few more left. I've probably gone through a lot here. You're welcome for my time. Looking at FPL undeniable, deniable. Team as well, Brownhill 4.5. It's grand. Your front line's lovely, genuinely. Antonio, Ronaldo, Bamford. That's the dream front 3. Midfield as well. Salah, Traore, Torres, Benrahma, Brownhill. It's good. It is. I think Benrahma's a player who could be changed. Then looking at your defense, you have Trent, you have Shaw, Livramento, Williams, good. Rudiger, I think Rudiger is the most nailed on option in the defense, so that's good. You've got the duo from Brighton in goal as well. The only issue I have with that is Brighton have so many players that you're going to want to consider at some point. So, is a double Brighton goalkeeping option a really good play? Like, they've got lots of good players, like, they've got Lamptey coming back, and then they have other players as well, like Maupay, who could become an option. So I just worry about that. I probably wouldn't do that, even though I know the idea behind it. In terms of your defense, Rudiger, I'd change to Tierney. You could change him to Tierney, and then you could upgrade Benrahma to somebody else. You could even bring in somebody cheaper and then upgrade one of Livramento or Williams. These are just ideas. So you could potentially downgrade Benrahma to a 5.5 million midfielder from Arsenal, and then you could upgrade Livramento to, let's say, Tierney, downgrade Rudiger to Luka Dean, and then you've got a really good squad there. Overall, I think it's a pretty good team. I'd probably change Steele to Gunn from Norwich, or even Jed Steer from... Who's Jed Steer playing? From Aston Villa, because there's going to be a few goalkeepers who are out because of the internationals. Martinez is going to be playing a lot of them. In game week 8, they've got a game against Wolves, so he could be playing that. So yeah, something to consider there. Next up is FPL Eagan, another Irish lad. Up the Irish. Looking at that team, the defence is good. 2 cheap defenders, Tomato, Shaw, Trent. I think any wildcard you're going to need Shaw, Tomato, a Trent, players from these teams. I think if you're getting a Liverpool player, you can't really skimp out on Trent. Looking at the midfield again, it's something I've said already. Salah, Jota, drop one of them. I've seen a lot of people with Torres. He played at the international break. It's a bit of a worry, but I think he's a good pick. He's been playing well. Again, looking at your midfield, you've got Rafinha in there. There's no chance that he may not play. Trinchao instead of Adama. I think Adama is more nailed on than Trinchao. So if you do, bring in Trinchao, just be prepared for him to be dropped. That's something to consider. Your defense as well. It's good, as I've said. Your front line is fantastic. That's the one that you want. Personally, I'd probably go with Bamford over Antonio for the long haul, but this game week Antonio's got a better fixture. So looking at it, I'd probably downgrade Jota and then upgrade a defender. So one of Williams, other Vermento. That way you've got somebody to cover for Rafinha this week. And then if you wanted, you could just have a better option. Because realistically, you're probably not going to want to play the Vermento, Sissoko, or Williams. I like Steer on the bench as well. Good pick. And next up, finally, is Chatterjee 0 Ayan. May have bastardized that name, but sorry. Looking at this, again, you've spent a lot of money on your defense. Not really. With Christensen and Reguilon, they're both quite cheap. But again, both of them don't have great fixtures. You have no Wolves players. None. So, bro, get some Wolves players in there. You have no Everton players, no Arsenal players. So yeah, you're missing a lot of players with good fixtures here. So, again, it's going to be one of those things. Downgrade Jota if you've got triple Liverpool. In defence, Christensen and Reguilon. As in get rid of Christensen, get rid of Reguilon, bring in Tierney, and then Semedo. Jota can go to somebody else. As in, plenty of options there. You could upgrade Dennis. If you bring in somebody cheaper for Jota, you could upgrade Dennis. Then you could get a really good forward line up there. So yeah, that's just some ideas there. Ronaldo, Antonio, great captaincy shout there. I probably wouldn't have Greenwood. I know it's a great fixture, but there's the risk that he's going to be dropped soon. I know he's been playing great and all that, but there is the risks. I don't think Dennis is nailed on as well. You could upgrade him to a better striker. But yeah, overall your team's okay. Christensen, Reguilon, I'd get rid of. Benrahma, Jota, potentially get rid of. I don't think West Ham are worth a double up right now. Your bench as well, Amarty's never going to play. Get rid of him. Bring in a defender who's 4 million who will play. Somebody like Brandon Williams. Yeah, that's your team. Genuinely, there's a few chances you can make on it. So yeah, that has been the video. Hopefully you found it somewhat educational. If you have, give it a like. And to be fair to you, if you have stuck around this long, fair play. Like genuinely, this is a long video. I think this is my longest video. I've done a live stream, but yeah, this is the longest one that I think I've done. Overall, all the decisions were based on fixtures, on form, things like that. And if you don't have Wolves players, Arsenal players, Everton players, Leeds players in your team, I think you're missing a trick really. So those are players that you should consider bringing in. Overall, hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, like, subscribe, comment saying if you didn't. I've been Paddy, so nice chatting to you. Peace. Jesus Christ, 29 minutes.